Yes, before understanding today's concepts, let's try to recollect it, what we were understanding yesterday, and then we go ahead with one more data type that is about tuples. But yesterday, what we were understanding that is about lists, right? Yeah, one of the important concepts on the list. But why do we need to use the list? What is the need of this? Yeah, normally variables we are using the so far variable assigning that single value. So only the one item we can assign that, but I have that multiple items like this. Yeah, multiple same category. Yeah, they're all like same type category in the sense, yeah, same type, the multiple values we have. Then how I can manage this kind of the data. So if you have this kind of the scenario, then we can use the lists. But list is like it is indirectly, we can say that it is kind of the database. Yes, the database, if you create a table, so in the table, yes, we can insert the data, we can delete the data, we can update the data. So the same kind of, yes, the CRUD operations, we say that data management, CRUD operation, that is a creating, reading, updating, deleting. So these kind of operations we can perform on the lists. But first of all, how do we create it? Yes, you can define that. Yes, that is a variable name. But how do we define this? That's list is yes, which you can use it square brackets, and within the square brackets you can add that items with the comma separation. Yeah, you can add it multiple items. And once that's the list has been defined, yes, you can print it and you can get that items. Yes, that means you can read that items. Get is nothing but reading. But how the list is going to store that all the elements, that is about on the base of index numbers. Yes, it uses the index number. So this is the 0, this is 1. Yeah, it starts always. Yes, even the string also we are understanding characters which are starting from the 0 index number. Yeah, even that list also which stores the elements from the 0 index number. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that you can use it. The index numbers, and we can get the items of the list. Yeah, we're trying to getting that index based, and you can use that minus notation also, the negative number also, to get the elements from the reverse order. Yeah, left to right you can use it index numbers, or right to left you can use it. Left to right is nothing but that is 0 to n minus 1. And if it is right to left is nothing but it starts from the -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 like that. Yeah, that is indexing. And we are talking about the slicing also. Yes, you can use it. Suppose sub elements if you would like to get it. Yes, substrings, how do you get it in the string of the characters or list of all the characters? The same way, here also we can get it, the sub elements of the list. But how to get it? Yes, you can use the slicing. Slicing, we know about it, the concept of it starting index and end index plus 1. Yes, you can say that's a column also in the Excel. Yes. Yeah, slicings, we can use it and we can apply that sub elements to get it. Yes, from which position to which position do you need that elements in the list? You can, or we can apply that. That is about indexing, slicing, we are understanding. Then like, yeah, suppose whenever you are using index based getting the elements, it must be in the range of elements. So suppose if I give the something 10 to retrieve it, but a 10 is not available, it returns or it throws error. Index out of range. Yes, most of the times we see that whenever we are running the programs, yes, index out of range. So what is the meaning of that is nothing but the list is having some limit numbers, but you are trying to access that the index number which is not there in the list. Yeah, index out of range, that is one exception we are understanding. But in the slicing, you can use that, the index number which is not there in the list also, but it just returns none. Yeah, slicing is going to handle that internal exception, but index is not going to handle the exception, it throws exception. And we were using about it append function to add the elements to the list. So append you can use it, but append is going to add that element at the last of the index number. But you can update the particular position also. Yes, you can use it like index number. You can override the value. This is assignment. So we can say that list is mutable or immutable. Can you type that? List is immutable or immutable? List is mutable or immutable?
Mutable.
Yes. Good. Yeah, I got the responses. Almost the 6 or 7 members. Good. That is immutable. What about the string?
Immutable.
Yeah, string is immutable. Good. Fine. So here we can assign that, or we can override that element values of the list. And as well as we can delete that, the element from the list. Yeah, so pop is going to helping that. By default, the last item of the list will be deleted. The pop append is last element which will be added. Pop will be deleted, but we can use it in the pop, the particular index number also to delete the item of the list. Or we can use the del keyword also to delete that item from the list. And finally, you can make it like a list as empty also. That is by using that slicing option. Or entire the list you can delete it by using the delete with the variable name. So this variable completely removed from the memory. There is no reference of this variable in the memory. Yeah, so these are all like operations, indexing concept, slicing concepts, which you are trying to understand on the list. And operations point of view, append, pop. So those two operations. And yes, you can use the del keyword also. That was first concept. Then we were understanding a multiple list. Yes, list, I mean, within the list, you can store that another list, or you can merge the list. Yeah, we were talking about it, how to merge a list. But merging a list is plus indication. That is, this list items and this list items will be added into the same list. But append, so what's going to happen that here it is. Yes, now we have that, suppose my list dot append, in the last index number, it is going to add this list, right? Yeah, this is the sub list which we are adding to the main list. Yeah, you can add that, or you can measure that two lists items by using the plus. And yes, you can add it within the list and another list as well as. Yeah, so those length options, length you can use it to get it that number of items in the list. And yes, this is the list append, this is after merging. And then you can get that particular list. And how do we read that sublist items? Yes, you can see that this is about which we are trying to understand that. So this is from the main list. We are accessing the sublist, particular index number. And from there, yes, within that sublist, if we need that elements, yes, we are using about it slicing concepts. Yeah, so these are all like some more activities on that, like multiple lists. How do you work with that? Or within this list, if you have the sublist, then that sublist, how do we access it? Or how do we assign that? And finally, we were talking about it, some more functions, that is sorting about the list or reversing of this list. These are all some more operations on the list. Yeah, that was topic. And yes, this was assignment. Finally, it was given that, right? Yes. So how did you get this one? As we are understanding that this is one list and this is another list. But finally, we need to get this output. How do you get this output? How many of you completed this assignment? Simple. So take it, this list, sort it, and reverse it. Then take this list, sort it, and reverse it. Then use that slicing option, right? Slicing from this first list, CDE after reversing, that is a 2: we can use it. And on this list, we can use it 3, 2, 1 to get it. That is a slicing 2:. So this is the example. Yes, take the first list, sort it and reverse it. Then take that second list and sort it and reverse it. Then finally, apply the slicing concept on the each list and merge it to the final list, and final list you can print it that. Yeah, this one already I have saved it. I have shared it in the resources section, which you can use it and reuse this. Yeah, are you clear about this list concepts? Shall I go ahead to this the next data type? Yes, how many of you are good? Type this. I'm good on the list. Type the good in the chart window. Good. Good response. Thank you. Yeah, now let's move into this next another data type. I'm going to create new file for that. So which we are going to talk at that tuple. Yeah, so far let me just quickly, the basic data types you are understanding. So already somewhere I was talking about it. Yes, the basic data types you are talking that integer, float, boolean, string. Yeah, next collection of items to manage it. Yes, we have the list, tuples, and the dictionary. Yeah, the set is also there, but set is the main almost like as a list. But main other three things which we have this is list, tuple, dictionary. A list we are understanding. Now let's move into that tuple. So what is this tuple? So this is also collection data type. Tuple is also the data type which belong to the collection related. A list, dictionary, tuple, these three we'll call it as a collection data types. But what is that like main difference? Already we discussed that yesterday, the list to manage that set of items or list of items. But why do we need the tuple is? So if you understand the concepts of that mutable and immutable, mutable and immutable. So mutable, the list which, the mutable point of view, what is the data type which we discussed is so far? The list which we discussed. List is mutable. But immutable wise, if we just talked about it, we discussed so far about that string which is having the sequence of the characters. String normally, that is not the collection data type. That is not the collection data type. But the string contains the sequence of the characters. The sequence of the characters, we say that list of all the characters. Yeah, string is once it is defined and you cannot update the characters of the string. You cannot delete that. That is immutable. Like this, the one more immutable data object, that is, we can say tuple. Yeah, on the base of this difference, mutable and immutable. So we have the difference between the list and tuple. Yeah, this is the main difference. So remaining story is the same, like whatever we are working with the list, the same approach. There is no difference at all. The list and tuple, but main difference is mutable and immutable. Yes, what is immutable? So you can perform the CRUD operation on the data object if it is the mutable. But immutable is once if you define that, you cannot add the element, you cannot update it, you cannot delete it, but you can access it. Only read operation we can do that, but we cannot perform updating or deleting items of that list. That is the main difference. Okay, let's go ahead to talk about that all these points, the tuple. How do we define the tuple first of all? So list, how do we define it? We are using the square brackets. But how do we define this tuple is? You can use it. Yes, parenthesis. So if you see this, any variable which is defined or declared with this parenthesis, we can say that is a tuple data type. So this one now we can say that empty tuple list. So now if I try to print this, but do we have any elements? No elements. We just defined empty tuple. Yes, you see that now we got this response that is empty. There are no elements in this. And if you just observe that type, which type of class is this is, would like to know that. And if you run this, yes, this is the class which belong to tuple. Yeah, whenever we are analyzing the programs, Python programs, if it is defined any variable with this parenthesis, we can understand this variable type is, this variable type is tuple. Okay, so can I define that in the different way of this tuple? So this is normal approach which we have that. Suppose variable, whenever we are defining this, how do we define this, the variables? Let me talk it in another way. Suppose I can have this one element also in the tuple. So one element tuple, some name I'm giving that A. Suppose if I assign this one, some value to this, which data type is this? Which data type is this? Which data type is this? That is integer, right? That is integer. But if I just define that comma separation without using this parenthesis, if I just define the comma separation, now you see this what it is, what it has become that. So I didn't use that the parenthesis over here. But if I just by specifying that the comma, so that has become as automatically Python is going to assign that this, it is going to store it in the memory as a tuple with the comma separation. Yeah, it can be separated with commas. This is another notation to define the tuple. This is one notation. Yes, I can add it the elements like this 1, 2, 3. So this is now it is having the list of all elements. Before it was empty, now I have defined. Or you can use it 1, 2, 3. So both are the same representation. Are you clear about these points? Yeah, you can use it the parenthesis, or we can use it without parenthesis also, the tuple. So directly, if you see this in the interpreter section, like this with the comma separation set of elements or items, then we can consider this as a tuple. Yeah, so one element you can define it, or two elements we can define it. Suppose let me define that some more variables. So this is one example. So this is, so if we have those two elements, yes, so this is, yeah, let's give me that different name. Yes, this is another type. Like that you can define with the comma separation. Fine. Now that is about how do we declare? How do we declare a tuple? Either you can use it the parenthesis or you can use it with the simple items with the comma separation. You don't need to use it any square brackets or parenthesis or curly braces. Next, if you move into that, suppose let me try to print those two also. So this is A. Just this is for all your whatever reference. I'm just adding A here. Yeah, now you see this automatically it has been created the tuple data type internally, and it is storing that all the elements in the format of the tuple. Yeah, good. Now, next, as we are talking about it, we cannot update it or delete or assign the values to the tuple. Now, let's move into that. So I'm going to comment, I'm going to take this tuple. So these are all I'm just going to add the comment. Okay. So now as we're talking about it, we cannot assign the values to this. Suppose, okay, first let's talk it. How do we read it? How do we read it? Now, can you give me that example? Now, this is my tuple, and I need to print the two. I need to get the two value from this tuple. How do I use this? How do you use that in the list? Can you give me that, or can you type that in the chat window, everyone? Just think it whenever we are just a one way, instead of going for that one way. If you come up with this from whatever side also, then it will be the easy. Now I need to get this two value from this tuple. How do I get it that? In the list, how do you get it? Give me the list format. Yeah, what is the index number we use it in the list? Simple, right? Why you are going to use the slicing and all that? So that variable name and square brackets use the index number. So even in the tuple also the same we are talking about it. List and tuple both are almost the same. Only mutable and immutable, why is the difference? The remaining same as it is. Now you see this 1, 2, 3 we have defined, and I need the 2 is nothing but what is the index number? So 0, 1, 1 index number. Now you can use it, the 1, and you are getting this the value. The way you are thinking too much about the slicing and all that. Suppose if I need that, suppose if I specify the 3, what's going to happen here? So what is the like output? Now we are going to have it. Exception. Yes, that is index out of range. No, it is not none. As we're talking that, so if you're using the index numbers, it is going to throw. If that particular index is not there in that list or tuple, then it returns that the exception, tuple index out of range. But if we use the slicing, this is the slicing. So if I use the slicing, then we will get that empty list. Yes, that is none. we don't have that in that position, no element is available. That is a none. So here also you can use the slicing concepts and indexing concept. Yeah, now suppose I need to get it list of all the items of the tuple. Yes, I can use like this also. Yes, now I got it 1, 2, 3, all that. Yeah, slicing, indexing, same whatever we are talking that, which you can use it in the tuple also. So these are all like a read operations, or is it which operation we are talking that? Which type of operation these are all? In the CRUD, always remember the CRUD. So this has been created, fine. Yeah, it is defined. Sorry. Yeah, it is defined. After definition, so if you would like to insert the data, that is append function in the list. Or if you'd like to delete it, that is a pop and a del command, del key. Or if you'd like to read it, yes, read, which we can use it indexing and slicing. Yeah, so these are all the read operations which you can perform. Reading that elements. Yes, with the slicing and as well as indexing. Let me comment this too. Okay, now let's come back to that. Updating this tuple. Can I update this one? How do you do that updating in the list? Append function. But do you see this in the tuple? Do you see this like an append function? No, we don't have those any append function, and you see that only index and a count function. They're all the methods which are available. But these are all by default the methods, internal inbuilt. But actually, this tuple has been given that only 2 methods. But if I define the list, let's observe that. This is my list. You see that you can do that reversing, you can do the sorting, you can do that index, you can do that pop. Pop is deleting, which you are using. Appending, you can do that. You can clear the elements, you can copy it, you can count it, you can insert the values. It is kind of append. And you can remove the particular element. Yeah, these are all some important functions which are available on the list. We are talking that append, pop, sorting, reversing. Count is it is going to get that. Suppose let me show that's function. So that's one important function. Suppose what is the count is. Suppose in this list, 2, how many times it has been repeated. I need to get the count of that element. So then you can use the count function. Let me just try to print this. This is list related, one more important function which we use it mostly in the data operations. Suppose now if I go for that. So why we got it? I mean, that is a 0. Can you guess that here? 2, is it available in this list or not? But I'm expecting the count is 1, but I got it the 0. Why? I have given the string right. The index numbers are going to internally ASCII characters are going to changing or not? Yes, ASCII values will be changing that. So you need to make sure that the data type which you are looking at exactly, it should be the same. Now you see this in this list. 2 is available in how many times it is available? The count 1. Suppose if I add it one more 2. Comma 3, comma 2. So now what is the count we are expecting? What is the value we are expecting here? Type that, everyone, quickly. This is one more function. Remember that. Actually, I forgot it yesterday. Anyway, good. So if I run this, yes, now we have this element in this list 3 times. So we got the 3 is the output. Yeah. Now, if we just conclude it, the list is having that so many functions, but a tuple is having that only 2 functions. The count, yes, here also you can use the count function, and how many times that's the particular element has been repeated. So you can get it as the count value. Yes, now you see this 2 has been repeated 1 time. Yeah, the count function. Fine. So that's, I mean, so you see that here tuple is having that, I mean, you cannot do the sort operations, you cannot do that reverse operations, but on the list we can do that. Yesterday, which you are observing that. Yeah, so this is one point. And second point, as we are understanding that, suppose I would like to replace this 2 with another value. How do you do that? In the list, can you give me that example in the list? I would like to change the value of this. 2 has to be replaced with the string. Then how do you do this normally in the list? Are you getting my points? Everyone? How do I send this, or how do you override this value? Yeah, my tuple of this index number, which you can use it. So what is this index number? I would like to do that. Index number 1. And I would like to assign that something 2, like this. Now if I try to print, so what is like, I mean, is it going to work with this or not? So we are expecting error. Yes, tuple object does not support item assignment. We are assigning that this value at this position, right? Within this tuple. So interpreter is not going to accepting that assignment. But if it is a list, yes, that will be allowed or not allowed. Yes, if it is a list, that will be allowed, but in the tuple, you cannot do this one. Remaining slicing, indexing, you can do that. Those are all the read operations, but these are all like a update operation. Update operation, you cannot do that. Or we were talking about this is one approach. And one more approach, if you go for that. So can I do like this, something 4? Is it going to work this one? Append function, is it available in the tuple? You see that's like a exception. Tuple object has no attribute append. Yes, we don't have the append function in the tuple. But if it is the list contains that append, and this will be added at the 3rd index number. But tuple is not having that append. Tuple, you cannot assign it. This is assignment, and this is, we are trying to append that item, but a tuple doesn't support it. It throws error. And here also, error. But this error is different, this error is different. This error is append is not available. But here you cannot assign it. This is the type of exception. Just remember that all these are type of exceptions. If you are good with that, understanding that exception during troubleshooting and analyzing that exceptions, this will be helpful. Not to define is nothing but that is not available. Or it is no attribute. Yes, that means that is not available here. Yeah, good. So that is about like assignment. You cannot do that. But if I would like to do this changing of this one, now I need to add it to this tuple, the 4 also, 4 item. Then how do I do that? You need to reassign that, right? So now what's going to happen that? Now is it going to changing that? Yes, now you see this, we got it that. So you need to entirely redefine the object, but you cannot change that the particular position of the value, position on the base of the index, you cannot do that update. Or you cannot delete it. But if you would like to change the tuple, you need to reassign. Even we are talking that in the strings also the same thing. Suppose one more point, what do we have this is, if you would like to append that, yes, you can use that plus notation and you can say that something, yes, 5. Now if I try to run this, so it is concatenated type, not into tuple. Yes, that is saying the CS integer. Yeah, now we see this, we are able to concatenate it. The same thing we are observing this in the string. If you remember this string operations, if you would like to update it, you need to use the concatenation, right? Yes or no? The message is equal to, suppose if you would like to concatenate it, you can use the 2 strings like this. But in the same string, you cannot, once the string has been defined, you cannot change it. The same thing tuple also. If you would like to change the values of the tuple, you need to reinitialize the object or reinitialize the variable. Is it clear about this statement? Type that clear if you are understanding this, all these points. Everyone, CLR in the chat window. I would like to see that how many of you are good with this. How many of you are following? Yeah, good. Good response. Thank you. The be active like this. Yeah, so it is going to, identifying that as the tuple, comma is required. Otherwise, it is going to consider as a integer. Normal that like int type single variable, right? This is a single value. Why do you want, if you have this only single element, why do you want that tuple? You can use that normal variable, right? So in that context, so even we are talking this in the top. So if I just say that 1, that is single, the value you are assigning that. But tuple is going to use it at least with the comma separation, you need to differentiate it. Is it clear why there's after the 5 this comma? Okay, so now del command also, yesterday we are trying to understand that. Let me try to apply this can I delete a particular index number, something? I need to delete the 3. 3 is nothing but what is the index number? 2, right? So is it going to accepting that? So tuple object does not support item deletion. Yes, you cannot delete it. But on the list, you can do this, right? To delete that particular the value on the base of the index numbers. The list supports, but tuple doesn't support it. Yes, we are understanding the pop exceptions, and we are understanding append exception, assignment. So this is you cannot do that, and append you cannot do that, and delete you cannot do that. But if you would like to reassign the values, yes, you need to use it. Reinitialization of the reinitialization. Just think it about that. This one we are reinitializing with the updated values. Yeah, so that is about some points understanding on like these are all like a update and delete operations. And insert, if you would like to do that, you need to reinitialize it, but you cannot reassign like this. You cannot reassign it. Sorry for that. Yeah, now let's move into that some operations to perform it on this tuple. Bloody operations we are talking that what are the main operations are available. Only count is one thing. Already we are observing that count here. So the same you can apply that on the count is available in a list and as well as tuple. So that is one main operation, and you have that index position to get it. You can use it. Now let me go ahead. Within the tuple, can I add the list? Yeah, I'm going to comment up to all this stuff. Let me create new. My mouse is not good, so it is not selecting this properly. Yeah, I'm going to take this tuple and let me move to this new file. We go for this new file. Now tuple with the list will work with that. Yeah, this is my tuple which I'm defining. That's A comma B comma C. Now the tuple is having that like integers, and it is having that list data type also. Can we store like this? Will it be acceptable? Is it acceptable or not? Just type this in the chat window. Yeah, I see there's some responses. Yes, some responses. No. Okay, I mean, this is, it should be string. Is it acceptable or not? Within the tuple, can we store this, the list? Yes, that is acceptable. But what is the length of this tuple now? So it is acceptable. Yes, you can store it. Yes, even the string, suppose I would like to store it, string data type. Yes, you can store it, or you can store that list. So this is something one I would like to define it. Yes, this is also acceptable. Or you can store that the float. Suppose after this, I would like to store it something 10.2. So is it acceptable or not? Yes, that is acceptable. You can store it. But what is the length of this one now? My tuple, how many elements it is I have in that? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Is it 8? Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? So what is the length of this my tuple? Is it 6 or 8? So what is the function to get it? The length. Either list or a string, you can apply that, or you can apply this length function on the tuple also. Now I see some responses saying that 6. Some of them, they have given that 8. So let's check it now. And I got it 5 also. Okay. So now what is the length of this tuple? That is 6. So this is index number. What is the index number for 1? Index number 0. Yes, this is 1. This is 2. This is 3. And this entire list is 4. And what about this one? 5. 5 index numbers are nothing but 6 elements, right? Yeah, this is the length. Suppose, can I get that list? How do I get the list? ABC values, I need to get it. How do I get it? Yesterday we were working, same thing. Within the list, sub-list we are working. Today within the tuple, we are working with the list. Now I need to get the list. So how do I get the list? My tuple. And what is the index number? Yeah, that is 4. And if I try to print this, yes, I got it. ABC is the list. So this is the length. Length we are getting the 6. That's fine. And now we are trying to get the list. ABC. Now the point is, I would like to change or replace the C with the D. Can I do that? So C has to, now this is the tuple we are talking that. Now the C which is there in this list, I would like to change the C to that something D. Can I do it or not? Think it and let me know. Yes, I got it. Some responses no, and some responses yes. So once we define the tuple, we cannot change it. Yes, that is we got responses. And some responses, yes, we can do. We can do because it is within the list. Yes, answer is we can change it. But how do we assign it? Now we are getting this like a list, right? How do we get it the list? Yes, this one. The mouse is not good, so it is not selecting properly the strings. Fine, anyway. So now this is going to return the list. Now within the list, what is the index number I would like to change it? Now second position, right? Second. Now, I mean, so this one is returning, suppose. If I say that's the 4. Can I say this is going to return the list or not? Now if I try to print my list, now we are getting the list or not? Yes, ABC. But what is my concept is, I would like to assign a value. Suppose I need to get that C first, right? How do you get the C? What is the index number? Can I add it here? 2. Yes. Now what is the value it is going to return that? Seed has been written. You see this now? It is not the list. Now it is written that a string character. Now to this, I would like to assign that. Assignment is this one, right? That C I would like to replace with a D. Now if I try to print my tuple, so what is the value we are trying to get in that? So this C has to be replaced with the D. So is it going to accepting or not? Now you see that C has been replaced with D. It is changeable. We are able to change it. So we are saying the tuple we cannot change it once it is defined. Yes, correct. But we are not changing that the tuple item, right? We are not changing this item. So within this tuple, the fourth position, whatever we have, that list we are asking that fourth position, this is important. Fourth position, you cannot change it. Suppose if I would like to assign that the fourth position, I cannot do this. But I'm not changing that fourth position of this my tuple. I'm changing that in that fourth position. I'm asking the list. List is mutable or immutable? So I'm axing the list. Within the list, I'm going to changing that. That is important. This is very, very important in the interviews point of view. But if I would like to change this fourth position or like a fourth index number, you cannot do that. Or this one, if you would like to change it, you cannot do that because this is the index number of the tuple. So on the tuple index number, you cannot assign it. But here we are not assigning this on the index number of this tuple. We are assigning that index number. Yes, we got it. The list within the list, we are trying to update it. Yes, that is acceptable. List is mutable. Whether that is you are storing in that a tuple or a dictionary or wherever within the sublist, another sublist doesn't matter that you can change it. Is it clear this point? Is it interesting or not? Type that interesting if you feel that. Yeah, these are all like, if you're planning this, yes. They ask you the question, questions in interviews on this only. There is no big deal of that. But if you know these points, it will be good. But if I would like to, suppose if I would like to replace this list, I cannot do that. Yeah, that is, I was already showing about it. Yeah, fine. So this is one important thing, this understanding that. So the tuple, you can store it other data types also. Yes, here we are storing that integers, strings, floats, and the list itself, and you can access it. That is a read operations. You can do that on the index number based, but that index number, if you'd like to change it, you cannot change it that. Yeah, so so when to use this tuple list combination, at what conditions we implement this? Yes. Suppose you have, like, let me define that. So good point. Suppose you have like users information, like let me talk with that. Let's take it one variable, user info. So I'm going to define this one as tuple. Suppose user name is something, okay, the Venkat, and his date of birth, something XYZ. I'm just defining these are all like strings. Yeah, so the name of this user and the date of birth of that user, can we change it? Lifelong, it is not going to change, right? But his weight or his education details. Okay, the first is 10th. Second one is, yes, inter. This will be updated or not? So on the base of his that like a degrees which he is going to completing that, this will be changing, right? Are you getting this point? But this name doesn't change it. This year of birth doesn't change it. But his education data, or if you have those weight details, like yes, you can define that education details, or you can define one more list that is about his height, weight. So height, yes, it is going to, I mean, weight, it is going to change, especially height, okay, leave it after that's after some age, yes, that's fixed. But yes, weight, if you just talk it, it can be changed. Suppose we have that like something 75, or maybe later 78, or maybe later 80, or maybe later 120. It can be changed. Yes or no? Now you got the point. So some of the items, it never changes. But some specific group, now this is about my education details. So there are specific category which can be changed. Then you can use it list here. And this is the specific category which can be changed. Yes, use it this list. But this is specific information of that user. It doesn't change it. Then use the tuple here. Now, if you would like to suppose the user info of that like item. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, third index number, which we have this dot append. Suppose his weight now it has been decreased to the something 100. Now can you change this one or not? Now it has been changed, the weight. But these details, name and date of birth, it doesn't change it. Or suppose, yes, he has completed after the 10th and intermediate, yes, he has completed like a degree. Then user info. So what is that like index number of this education? 2 dot append degree. Is it clear the point? Yes, now, so his education details have been changed, or his weight has been changed, but his, suppose if you'd like to update this. So user info of the name, if I would like to change it. Something XYZ. Will it be acceptable? It doesn't. You cannot change the name. Or you cannot change the date of birth of that user. But you can add the degrees. The education details, it can be changed. Weight, it can be changed. Those cases, yes, the tuple contains the list. So same category which you have that if it is required to change it, then the list. These are all like, yes, education details. These are all like about weight details. But these are all personal information. Suppose address details. Address details, can we add it like as a list or tuple? you can define one more list, right? Internally. Yeah, so with the one more list, you can define it. So you can define all those like landmark details or the street, the pin code, and all that you can add it in the list. But whenever that address has been changed, yes, you can change the list of that address. Are you getting the points on this? Is it clear to everyone? Yeah, in the next some more operations, we have the for loops, while loops, condition-based statements. During that time, so these are all going to help in that. So we do that. We need to do that iterations as well as. So iterations and working with that lot of stuff. So which we have that. There we will talk it some more the options on this. Yeah, that is about tuple. So within the tuple, yes, you can have it multiple list and you can access that. The list, like yesterday we are talking that the list of all the list, yes, sub list you can access it and you can do that deleting, you can update it, you can do all operations. Like the same thing within the tuple, if you have the list, that list of elements you can update it, but not the tuple. So here the main difference is, so tuple on that index number, you cannot apply that the changes. Suppose I cannot change. Well, let me comment this, these two lines for about your reference. Suppose if I would like to change this one to something other XYZ. So will it be acceptable? Give me that answer. Is it acceptable or not? My compiler will accept it, my Python interpreter will accept it, or is it going to throw the error? Is it going to, type that A or E? A for accepting, E for error. So I'm getting that A, E, A, A, A is nothing but accepting. E is nothing but error. Now if I try to run this program, so you cannot assign it because we are trying to apply this on the index number. So this tuple on this tuple index number. Yes, this one we are trying to apply this. Is it going to accept it? No. But if I use it here, something one, the one is anyway not there, that is 0. Then it will be acceptable. Because here you are trying to change directly the position of the tuple, this one. You are trying to change it. You are trying to remove this list and you are adding to that XYZ. It doesn't accept it. Got the point? Most of the people, they mention that A, but this is the E, error. So because this position, this tuple position, which is having the 2, my mouse is not selecting properly, the strings, okay. So you are trying to change within the tuple this position. That is, I am applying the 2 position. That is a 2 index number is nothing but third position, right? So you are trying to replace this one with XYZ. No, it doesn't accept it. But within this, something if I'm having, and if I would like to change this one, 2 of, suppose 1. Now, what is going to happen? Now this is acceptable, right? But what is the meaning of this one? This is tuple position, tuple element you are trying to replace it. So this entire list you are trying to replace with XYZ. This is not acceptable. I've got the difference. Small observation that is very, very important. The position of that. Now here I am trying to change the position of item in the tuple. But if I use it this option, now I am accessing this list. Within the list, I am trying to change this position. Within the list, I am trying to change this position. That is the difference. This is acceptable. Because first I am accessing the list, which is available in the tuple. Then I am trying to change this one. But if I give this one, so you are trying to change the position of this tuple. It is not acceptable because the tuple is mutable. Yeah, so that is wonderful concept, the tuple. And next we have this one more data type, that is a dictionary. So that is also the same kind of operations we have. But when do we use it and what is the representation of the dictionary? That's we will talk it tomorrow. Yeah, this week we'll try to complete all the data types. Yes, tomorrow we'll complete with these data types. And next week, the condition based and iterations. Then we have the functions concept and the exceptions. How do we handle that? So these are all like next week maximum understanding about that, all these basics of this, the Python. If you are good with all these things, then it is the very easy. Yeah, so in the dictionary, you can, we will talk it about that. How do we use it, this dictionary? That is tomorrow, let me talk it on it. Yeah, today, so take it these 2 points. So that is a tuple, so this file. So try to practice all this. So now if you conclude about it, read operations with the indexing, slicing you can do. But you don't have that append pop functions, sort function, reverse function. These functions you cannot do on the tuple. And you cannot delete it. Delete keyword, it throws error. And tuple, yes, can I have the list as well as? Yes, how do you access that? Yes, within the tuple, if you have the list items, you can change it. But tuple items, you cannot change it. So within that tuple, you are having the list, that list items, you can change it. But list, I mean, the tuple item, you cannot change it. Suppose this is one item. This is another item. This is another item. This list is one item. But this item, you cannot change it once the tuple has been defined. But tuple, if you would like to change it, you need to reinitialize it. So like this, you need to reinitialize it with new values or updated values. But existing tuple, the particular position of that element, you cannot change it that. So from the interview on this Python, there is no big deal. If you have this concept clearly, almost 70 to 80% of that, the interview on the Python, you can clear it that. So next, like for loops and while loops, we are going to talk it with conditional. Yes, conditional based with iteration based. How do we manage these lists or data dictionary, I mean, data types? Enough. That is more the activities. But which frameworks you are going to use it within the frameworks? Yes, that's particular functions are you going to use it ready-made. But if you know these concepts, then 70 to 80% of the Python, the activities you can manage it. Remaining these are all on the base of suppose Django or like AWS Boto 3. On the base of the frameworks related activities are going to change. Yeah, good. So we have this one more data type dictionary. So we'll talk it tomorrow. And max like the data types will wind up. Then we'll move to that. For loops, condition-based statements, and functions and exceptions. How do we handle that? So these are all some more concepts on this. They're all we are talking about it, PCEP and PCAP certifications. That's why we are going this much detail. If you are strong on that certification oriented, those certifications you can apply to that, the next level, any Python. I mean, that is a Python with web frameworks or infrastructure frameworks, that is cloud, or data science frameworks or AI frameworks. The frameworks are going to change in that. But these are all the basic things. Good. Thank you all. So any queries, questions, please let me know before going to end up today. Have you learned any new concepts today? So come out of that about your mindset, like I'm that non-programmer, whether I can learn that programming or not. So is it difficult? Are you able to follow all these points? His mindset is very, very important. Yeah. So no difficult, no questions, sir. I'm excited to learn new things. So there are new things or not? What are the new things that do you want that? Yeah, already in the previous, I mean, in this batch, like 2 or 3 members already knows about the Python, right? So how do you feel the before this one and the now? Do you see this any difference? The previous, whatever you know the concepts and now are learning about that deep level. That's a more internal. Yeah, thank you. The way of teaching is excellent, sir. Thank you. Yeah, some concepts learning new. Okay. Okay, good. Anyway, so whether you know this, the previous the programming or not doesn't matter that, but try to practice it as much as you can do. So definitely you can become the good understanding the program first at least. So now these days getting that like sample programs is not the big deal, but after knowing that the programs, after getting the sample program, how you are analyzing, so how you are like a troubleshooter, you need to think like as a Python interpreter. Suppose if you see this particular line, okay, how the Python interpreter is going to considering that. That is important. You don't need to remember all the functions or like arguments. No, not required. So that's why IDEs are helping that. Suppose if I just type the dot, it is giving that all the details, right? List of all the functions which are available in that class. If it's the tuple class or list class, it is giving all the details. I don't need to remember all the things. On the basis of my requirement, I need to find it. But how do I use it that I mean, those functions are like these data types. Whenever you see some existing statements, whether you are able to understand data or not, if you are good with this kind of, then more enough. But yes, you should able to apply it also. That's fine. You should able to write. But those are all writing point is interview point of view. But once you join in the organization, you don't get the chance of that writing from the scratch. Definitely. Only in the interview, they will ask that write from the scratch. But once you join that, you don't get the chance of that writing from the scratch. But to clear or to crack the interview, Yeah, they ask you give some scenario, and yeah, suppose the factorial number. Some examples. I'll give that later. Some the concepts, the real time on the basis of about our AWS and AWS. Some services we have that, especially Lambda serverless. Serverless. In the serverless, we are going to talk about that one of the AWS service. In that AWS service, we are going to use the Python programming. Yeah, Boto 3, yes. Troposphere, these are all some specific frameworks are available for the AWS services to manage it using the Python. And not only that, some data processing model also the Python is going to helping in AWS. Data processing model. Already in the internship programs, I have given them some projects. So serverless image processing, serverless web application. So those projects, so whenever we are doing that, these Python concepts are going to help in that. Yeah, Python not only here. I mean, so if you know that the Python and if you are able to showcase all these the points, then so the Python is the more valuable, more demand. So that's why more practice that. Even the DevOps engineer, AWS engineer, data science engineer, or even that like web developers. The Python is one of the basic programming language, whether that is infra side, as we are talking that initially importance of the programming. So try to practice as much as you can do and try to at least understand that existing programs. So if you are going to attend that written test, so they give that like these statements and what is like output that is going to have it. Is it error or is it exception or is it which type of exception? That is also they ask you. Which type of exception? Or if it is that output, what is that output are you going to have it? Yeah, if you are going to attend the interviews, or like especially written test, they ask you giving the code, sample code, and how you are analyzing that code. That is the kind of the test they do that. Or if it's the interview, they give the some scenario and ask that at least whether you are able to present that the statements or not. You don't need to remember all the functions and write it, but at least you are able to present it, the logic which is required for it. About your analytical skills, they will test it. How you are analyzing the problem. Problem analytical skills are the very, very important. Anyway, by doing that more exercise, that you will get it. But this is just started. Add it all these things one by one and do the more practice. But whenever we go for that Lambda and serverless, those kind of the activities, then you need to apply these things in the AWS side. That's will come back. Yeah, fine. Thank you all. So we'll meet tomorrow and we'll continue with the one more data type, that is dictionary. I hope so you enjoyed the class. Yes, by doing the practice, you will get more confidence and do the practice and get ready for tomorrow. Thank you all.